evening, guys, and welcome back to another edition here of the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage series here on NE Patriots Talk channel. We are in the 7th episode. We are in the 4th week of the NFL season. As always, I am the captain of the ship, Dow, aka DTN, and with me, I got your usual suspects, Thomas and Austin with me. Boys, how are you doing?
Get this off of my fucking face.
I'm doing good. I'm feeling better. I missed Monday's, aftermath show just because I got sick, contracted something from a family member, and I'm just happy to be back on here. My throat's feeling better. Everything's feeling better. So glad to, preview the Panthers game after an abysmal week 3 against the Steelers.
How about you, Thomas?
Pissed off after last week, honestly, but at the same time, this week got that relieved. Great golf tournament on, I believe, Wednesday, and the great news of my life, I finally got a girlfriend, so that's a big plus.
Woo!
So yeah,
That's nice to hear.
So yeah, at least this week is great compared to what happened to the fucking Patriots last fucking week, which I am so pissed off with.
Yeah, I can feel you, but yeah, with me, that day I watched the first half and I was like, oh, we had a chance, but then towards the very end when I started doing like this homeless ministry thing, like just meeting with homeless people, doing all the stuff, I would rather continue doing that than watching some of that, the abysmal playing towards the very end. And then the worst part, days after that, your boy also got sick. Like I had something lingering in my throat, and then yesterday I started coughing like crazy, and I'm like, come on, why does it always have to be me? And then I'm like, I have to go to, and the thing is, since Austin went to that game last week, I'm going to the Panthers game. So I will give my insight this upcoming Monday at 8 p.m., my thoughts of what I saw from the Patriots-Panthers game. But yeah, but as always, guys, please make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps us grow significantly here on this channel. And if you don't want to forget, please make sure that you turn on the bell notifications so you can get notified and wait to see when we are live. And also share this with your friends, because I see some of the typical suspects here in the YouTube chat, and we want to see new faces, new people, whether you're a Patriots fan or an NFL fan. It's nice to join us on that journey. And as always, please make sure that you post your questions and your comments in the YouTube chat to my right. You can always click Q as your question or type in C as the comment. But let's get into the latest news before we get into the injury report. So it was reported that Mike Vrabel announced that Terrell Williams has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, which I think is a serious cancer. But for those who don't understand, and granted, I'm no nurse, I'm no doctor, but what is prostate cancer and how it can affect Terrell Williams' coaching career?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty dangerous cancer to my understanding. I thought at one point there was a statistic that it's like the leading cause of death, like cancer-wise in men. I have family members that have dealt not with prostate, but with, breast cancer and a couple other cancers. So, my heart and prayers definitely go out to Terrell Williams. It's a terrible, terrible thing he has to go through. It's a terrible thing anybody has to go through. Nobody should get any form of cancer. So bare minimum, I'm just, hoping that he recovers. At this point, this is beyond football. I'm not concerned about, is he going to be helping us or the team. You know what I mean? I'm more concerned about whatever he needs to do to be better, to make a full recovery, go do it. I think we'll be fine with Kerr being our what I assume he'd step up to be the DC for the rest of the season. And then at the end of the season, we can kind of come back and reflect and see where Williams is on that recovery journey. I don't believe Rabel gave any insight as to how serious or what stage he's at prostate cancer wise. So I'm just really hoping it's a lower stage, and hopefully they caught it somewhat quick and it's been just kept under wraps for the sake of him and his family. But at the end of the day, we all did need an explanation as to why he was missing this much time. Just calling it an illness kind of wasn't adding up with us. So it definitely makes a lot more sense as to why he is missing the time that he did.
Yeah, and both Eric and Gerard said it themselves that it's very dangerous. It could be a leading cancer killer, especially to all men. And obviously, you do not want to see it, especially to a coach, let alone an assistant coach in the league. And it seems like so far this year, excluding the offseason, Terrell Williams, and I'll say this again, has been dealing with significant health issues from that health scare that he had in Detroit, which why he missed out rookie minicamp and the offseason. OTAs and mandatory minicamp. And then during training camp, he at one point had dehydration, which was everybody saw him collapsing during training camp, which is extremely scary, which for defensive coordinator, because I don't think I've ever seen an assistant coach collapsing during practice. So I think that for being the interim defensive coordinator or defensive play caller at this point, I think that he has shown improvement. I would say he's not going to be like the next Joe Brady, because Joe Brady had Josh Allen, so it's kind of different. But that's only because Ken Dorsey got fired. This situation is completely different because Zach Core was the interim defensive coordinator in place of Terrell Williams during his time. And I think that all that preparation during the offseason kind of paid off. I just hope, however, that we can eliminate majority of these penalties, which was one of the reasons for why we beat ourselves or shoot ourselves in the foot against the Steelers. And I hope that we can improve, especially after that abysmal performance after week 3. So I hope, and thoughts and prayers, as always, to Terrell Williams and his family, because you do not want to see this. And I know that it sucks as all Patriots fans, because we all thought that Terrell Williams would shine, especially during his first season as a defensive coordinator, because he's always been a defensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans and the Detroit Lions. So, let's now shift over to the injury report. And this injury report looked completely different than the last time in the previous weeks. So let's take a look at the excuse me, guys. So the New England Patriots injury report. So we know that we learned that Jared Wilson will be out for this upcoming game. And then those who are questionable are Kayvon Chason with a knee injury, Mike Onwenu with a shoulder injury, and no surprise, Christian Gonzalez with a hamstring injury. Let's just start with Jared Wilson. How will this impact the offensive line, specifically on the left side of the offensive line?
To me, I don't think it's going to affect anything here, because when we start, it's not going to affect anything on the left side here, as long as we got some replacement pieces, including Ben Brown, which we'll discuss later. I honestly think Ben Brown would be a good replacement here for Wilson on the left guard position, even though he played a decent job at center. I don't think it's going to be an effect on anything when we play Carolina. I have no belief in Carolina's defense at this point, even though they play well against Atlanta. I see no belief in that Carolina defense to go through our left side of the offensive line here when we got to be disciplined on when it comes to penalties at this point. So I think we're going to be fine. It might be just me because I'm optimistic at this point because I'm happy with what the offensive line has been doing. So I just don't see any impact on the offensive line when it comes to this game.
When we talk about this, Austin, I remember during training camp, we saw a bit of Caden Wallace repping up at left guard. Besides Ben Brown, who I think is definitely gonna take reps at left guard this upcoming game. But would you see Caden Wallace also playing at left guard? Because I know that in one of the reports he says that he feels comfortable at guard instead of tackle.
Yeah, I definitely could see Caden Wallace play. I think anybody's probably capable of playing. If you're left guard, you could probably play right guard and center. Or if you're left tackle, you could probably play right tackle. I'm not saying it's a seamless transition, but because I do understand it's hard to get the footwork right, dependent on the side that you're used to. I don't think it would be a huge issue. I think Caden Wallace is fine. I think he played fine for us in portions last year. Similar to how I think Ben Brown, especially against the Panthers, if you're going to try stuff out, this is the time to do it. You're talking about a bottom feeder team. And I know they just went into Atlanta, I believe, or maybe it was a home game. And they just shellacked Atlanta 30.
It was at Carolina last week here, but
it was Carolina. Okay,
it was at Carolina.
But it was against Atlanta.
Yeah, they just shellacked Atlanta, took it to them, which is a little surprising to me because you look at Atlanta and they have considerably better weapons than us, I would say. Running back, tight end, wide receiver, all around. But yeah, I think against the Carolina Panthers, this is your opportunity to test out some of those different, players at the different offensive line positions. I just don't want it to turn into a musical chair situation of last year where, Jared Wilson is the first domino of many to fall because we're just going to get riddled. We don't know that. As far as we know right now, Jared Wilson's the only one that's dealing with stuff, and hopefully it's just a 1 week thing. Let him rest, and he'll be out here next week. Because don't we play the Bills next week?
We do.
Yeah, we play the Bills next week. That's going to be a really tough game.
This makes a lot of sense if they're kind of on the line. This is where I'd also be if there's still a question about Gonzo, just sit him, give him 1 extra week because we need him against the Bills. We need to get some division wins.
Speaking of Gonzo, let's now transition over to Gonzo because last time he was on limited participation throughout the entire week, heading into week 3. Mike Vrabel pulled the move by saying that he's going to go from questionable to out. Would you see that possibility again, or do you think that there's a possibility that he could play limited snaps?
To me, basically, if you want to play Gonzo, I think limited snaps. But if you want to save him for a big divisional game against Buffalo, which we need him healthy at this point because Buffalo is going to be a tough team to beat for next week. We needed to save him at this point here. I mean, we still got some good corners at this point, and plus we got a good secondary enough to stop the weapons we had against Carolina, a bottom feeding team, which in my opinion, not worse than the Saints, who I have the Saints, the worst team in the National Football League.
It's between the Saints and the Titans, and we play both of them back to back.
No. It's not the Titans. It's the Saints and the Browns.
Okay, we won't debate that.
The Titans are not going to be that trash.
Then again, their head coach sucks, but yeah, Ray is asking where's my Patriots gear. Yeah, it's at home, but I'll definitely wear my gear this upcoming Sunday. I'm praying and I'm checking the weather forecast for this upcoming game. It's going to be, it says it's a 35% chance of rain, but by 1, let me just quickly check the weather for Sunday at Foxborough. Yeah, so it's going to be raining for at midnight, but by 1 p.m. to like 4 p.m. It should be like cloudy in the by like 76 to like 77. So I think I should be fine. And then I think I do have my training camp Patriots shirt, and then I also have a Patriots hat, which is full of autographs from Pat himself, Hunter Henry, and obviously Marcus Jones, who I got a picture with at training camp. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, that answers your question, Ray. But let's talk about Caleb on Chason, who is also questionable. But Caleb on Chason has been looking good so far. The only problem he has are the offside penalties. Will that impact the defensive line, or maybe we could see, because we know Harold Landry has been like top 5, top 10 leading the league in sacks, and then top 5, top 10 in tackles for loss, I think. Would that, with Chazon's absence, if he is demoted from like questionable to out, would that impact the defensive line in a certain way?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe you lose a little bit out on some like speed on the edge there, but I feel like you just probably slot Anthony Jennings or Keon White there, and now you have more of a power rusher there. That's better at stopping the run and set and contain. So we've had the best, well, it's second best pass rush defense in the entire league, to go with a dead last pass defense in the entire league. So I'm not necessarily worried about the run, but yeah, I just need to see some coverage better. But I think we have guys that can slot in. It'd be different if we're talking, Harold Landry's out. Then I'd be like, ooh. But Caleb on, I think he's just a piece to the puzzle that makes it all work.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the pass rush defense if Chason's out. I know we got the stats here from the Twitter at Patriots Communications at Patriots Comms. Like you said here, the Patriots are the second team in the NFL in rush defense so far. Owen allowed 60.3 yards per game on the ground. In only team history, only the 2019 Patriots has allowed less through the 3 games since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger.
Interesting. Especially when, so far, for the first 3 weeks, we have done a great job in the run game defense, which I think that was one of the biggest improvements compared to last season, because the defense line last week had minimal pressure and we were last in sacks, so that was a big improvement. However, I'm a little concerned in the passing game, and I think the passing game is where it's going to be improved, but I think we show improvement last week in spite of all these questionable penalties. And yeah, it didn't go out as far as I'm concerned, but I'm hoping that there's some improvement, especially with the defense as a whole, because I thought the defense would like improve compared to last season, which I think they have, but I want to see more. But the next player who is also on the questionable list, and I'm like a little shocked, is Michael Onwenu. Michael Onwenu, he's been slacking a bit, but I feel like Michael Onwenu had to take advantage of like Morgan Moses's mishaps, because I think it's about time where after this season Morgan Moses has to retire, because age is catching up to him. He's still a good player and a good leader, but I don't think his stamina is there anymore. So like, how is it going to like affect the rights? Is it going to like affect the right side of the offensive line or not really?
No, I don't think so. Onwenu is just having a setback for the last couple of games. I think he'll come back. He's probably one of our best right guards in this team. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't see any difference here if Onwenu is going to be kind of getting the slack at this point. So I don't think it's going to be any different.
I see. Okay, Tyler says that Onwenu is questionable, and Vrabel said it's just something they had to report to the league, aka he is playing. So okay, so I think he's not. Okay, so I think he is going to be.
Yes.
I hate this cough from there.
Yeah, thank goodness he's playing. Honestly, thank you, thank you, Paper Waves, for that.
Yep. But I think let's now shift over to looking at the enemy, and I'll get to all of your questions, guys, at the very end. So don't worry and be patient with me. So let's pull out the roster, shall we, for the Carolina Panthers. So actually, let's quickly look at the injury report first, and then like we can dive into like the roster. But Carolina Panthers, oh my gosh, their list is interesting. So Xavier Legette has a hamstring; he's going to be out. Ja'Tavion Sanders, second year tight end out of Texas, he's going to be out. All outside linebacker DJ Wonnum has a hip injury, and Patrick Jones also has a hip injury. So let's start with Xavier Legette. And then obviously you have Tetero McMillan questionable, so I bet you he's going to be playing. Warren is going to be playing. Hubbard is definitely going to be playing. But outside of Tet McMillan, is there another wide receiver that the Patriots should keep an eye on? Because with Legette out, I could see Coker, another who was a good wide receiver during the preseason, making plays. But is there anyone else that could be like an asset for Bryce Young, especially in the wide receiver room?
Yeah, to be honest here, I don't know if everyone's agree with me. I would say the guy who just unretired himself out of Hunter Renfrow. Like he has on his downside a couple of years ago, and he had to retire a couple of years ago. But I think I watched Hunter Renfrow on film when he played for the Raiders. Like he's still a decent weapon that people are gonna be scared of here. Honestly, when we had to go against Renfrow, you gotta be significantly guard significantly better against him here. Besides McMillan, Coker here, Renfro's gonna be one to watch out for me on the wide receiver side of things for Carolina.
Okay, so also Tyler's telling me Coker's on IR, so that's good to know. But so basically, based off of like the wide receiver matchups against those potential two wide receivers, would you see let me see. Davis, if Gonzo's out again, on McMillan, and then I would say Alex Austin or Marcus Jones on Renfrow for potential.
Yeah, I kind of like Marcus Jones on Renfrow.
Yeah, because it seems like Alex Austin has been regressing a lot. This is not what we usually see out of Alex Austin. What has been going on with Alex Austin for like these past couple of weeks?
Oh no! Like there's those stupid ass penalties that he has to suffer. Honestly, I don't know what's going on here. He probably regressed. He got beaten a lot of times when we played Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Jones would just excel against Renfrow because Renfrow's not really that burner. He's just more of a clean with the routes, gets open type of guy. He honestly just reminds me of like a Julian Edelman. I know he's not like to that caliber, right? But he's a solid football player, and he runs his routes and he gets open in the zones and he catches it, and that's why he's gotten paid basically. Yeah, the whole reason Renfrow is even on their team or like even made the team, because he originally got cut after the preseason ended, was because Coker is on IR. I don't know for how long. It could be the whole season or something like that, but they realized that they needed Renfrow. Yeah, as far as receivers on that team, the only significant one, and I say significant in like quotations, is like Jimmy Horn Jr. out of Colorado, I believe. Like, I liked him. I like him, but yeah, the other guys are kind of no names, and
There's
does look
more, and I don't know everyone else.
It does just look like a week where we could maybe sit Gonzo and feel confident that we'll be able to go out there and do what we need to do.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this roster tonight. So if Tet McMillan is out, which I don't think that's the possibility, if Tet is out, I would see Gonzo being out just to give him rest, because Buffalo has a better wide receiver core than what the Panthers have. So the only weapons I'm more concerned of outside of the current wide receiver core that the Panthers have, the only weapons that I'm more concerned of is Hubbard. Other than that, I'm like, outside of Hubbard, I don't know anyone else that kind of scares me at this point, because Tremble is okay as a tight end, but no one else no one moves a needle for me, or like we should keep an eye on. I think it's going to be Hubbard or Dowdle.
Yeah, I also will add, like, Marcus Jones. When I went to the game last week, I think his biggest thing is he struggles against those burner type of players, because Marcus Jones is fast, but he sucks at the press. And it was like third down last week, and Calvin Austin lined up right against him. And I'm looking at the formation. I'm just going, Calvin Austin is just going to blow right past Marcus Jones for the touchdown here. And what happened? Third down hike, Calvin Austin just burned the shit out of Marcus Jones, and it was the touchdown to put him up 21-14. It's not rocket science. Like, Marcus Jones has always failed at trying to play too close to the line of scrimmage and backpedal, and gets left in the dust. He excels playing laterally and being able to follow these players. So yeah, just put him up on Renfro. Don't trust him against Leggett or McMillan, or honestly anybody too much taller than him, because he's going to be a liability at that point.
Yeah. Let's talk about the let's briefly talk. Let me see who else is on the injured reserve that I don't think. So let's dive into like the trenches. So let's look at the trenches for a second. It was reported that we already know that Robert Hunt, who the Panthers gave a huge contract, 5 years, $100 million. He is going to be out for the rest of the season, I bet you, at right guard. How does the defensive line shake up and make an impact? How does the defensive line apply pressure to Bryce Young? Because this Panthers offensive line without Robert Hunt has looked abysmal so far. Or I could be wrong, because Ikem Ekwonu, who was a former first round pick, doesn't move a needle for me as a left tackle. So how could the defensive line apply pressure and get onto Bryce Young?
I mean, our defensive line should, quite frankly, just eat them up. I mean, if we play the Panthers and our defensive line can't get any pressure, any sacks, we might as well just hang up the cleats there. Because
that would be embarrassment if we go up against Buffalo.
Yes.
And be like,
yeah.
Because this should be an easy quiz. Because if the defensive line applies pressure onto Bryce Young and passes that quiz, they could be ready for their big test, Sunday Night Football game, which I consider that to be like I would consider to be like a first exam for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, like, I know people hated on Diggs because he was like, we should be 3-0, and to me, we really should be. I mean,
exactly.
We play the Raiders, and it's a couple mental errors that basically stop us. I mean, we had the missed field goal. We couldn't capitalize on a score before half. We turned it over the first drive after half. Just sloppy play there. We obviously get a win against Miami, and then just probably the most turnovers. I don't even know what the most turnovers in a game have been as of late, but it feels like that was the most amount of turnovers I've seen in years. It just felt terrible.
Granted that those two losses were against two well-known who are potentially going to be Hall of Famer coaches, Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin. This week we're going up against Dave Canales, he has revived both Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. Can he do the same thing with Bryce Young? We shall see. So I think Dave Canales is a good offensive coordinator, or more of a quarterback's coach. As a head coach, he's slowly getting there, but I think this should be an easy matchup. But don't fool you that this could potentially be a trap game if Bryce Young balls out, because there was a stat that he was 3-1 against the Falcons. Against the rest of the league, he's like 7-20 something. So,
put it this way: I'm more scared of Andy Dalton dotting us up than I am of Bryce Young dotting us up. I feel like the Red Rocket could come onto this team,
Oh,
and he just has a knack
I forgot
for
about him.
coming in and just beating out the starter and then just staying on. So, like, quite honestly, I just think what Bryce Young has shown outside of towards the tail end of last year, Bryce Young has been a total bust.
Yeah, he has not been living up to the first round, being a first overall pick, to be honest.
Is Dalton with the team now still?
Yes, he's still with the team as a backup.
Goodness sake.
I fear that he's going to be more of like a he's going to be what he used to be back when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. But then again, the Cincinnati Bengals are so petty and so cheap that they just got rid of Dalton. I'm like, that's also the other interesting thing. Panthers do not have Adam Thielen anymore as he's back with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
so that's gonna suck. So Jonathan says Leggett is a 50-50 ball guy and Bryce Young won't air it out and give him chances. Well, Leggett is gonna be out this upcoming season, so we don't have to worry about that. That's all we need to know. But
yep,
if against Chubb, since we have been doing a good job against the run, how can we stop Chuba Hubbard? Like Chuba Hubbard has like been one of their best weapons, I would say, for the Panthers, and he's not like Christian McCaffrey-esque, but
no.
How can we like put him like less than 100 yards? Like how can we like make sure that we have more tackles for loss since we know that the offensive line is not good?
I mean, just let the defensive line eat up on the offensive line and just get Hubbard. Like, it's not that difficult to go against a abysmal offensive line like Carolina. But Chuba Hubbard is a ridiculous player. Like, I watch a lot of college tape on Hubbard when he played for Oklahoma State. He is a legit running back. Like, he is not Christian McCaffrey, no, but on his own, he's still a tough guy to beat. And he got paid last season almost like the three quarters of the season. And he played a great game when when they play against the Giants. I believe at Germany last year.
He was in Germany.
Yeah, he played a big freaking game against them. So I would say that with this offensive line that they have, we just attack the gap.
I see. That's interesting to know. And also, if Chuba Hubbard is potentially going to be out because right now he's questionable, I expect him to play. We also need to keep an eye on Rico Dowdle because he had 1K yards with the Cowboys last year. And we know how we criticize the run game from the Wow Boys, as I like to call them, because Jerry Boy doesn't like to upgrade at running back. And yet Dowdle, now that they lost Dowdle, and I think they have Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, but
yep, and it's not the Wow Boys. I call them the Cowgirls.
I see. So also there's two players who I think we should keep an eye on, like on our defense, that I think could make an impact. One being Tonga, who is surprisingly look great in situational plays. Like he looks really good. And then you have Robert Spillane, who I think bounced back after his first two games. Will we see these two improving in spite of having like their better performances last week, respectively, for Spillane and for Tonga, like for the first three games so far?
Yeah, I believe so here. Like I was not even a believer on Tonga when we got him because he played with the Cardinals. I don't know how good the Cardinals defense were last season. And then we got him, and we pick him up on free agency for a year. I don't know how much money we have on a contract.
It was like 2.5.
Yeah, thanks. So we put him at nose tackle, which I don't know when's the last time we had a nose tackle on our defense. I mean, and he fits that criteria well. And Spillane, yeah, he did a good job last week, even though we freaking lost because of those stupid turnovers. Honestly. But at least there's one guy who's been the big winner for us last week. So I think Tonga and Spillane would definitely improve here since we're facing a abysmal Carolina team, even though they're not the worst team in their division. It's the Saints.
Insane. Yeah, I hope that if Zach Kerr utilizes Tonga extremely well, that I could see him being an impactful player for the defense. Granted, he's not going to be like your starter, but he's more of like your rotational. He's more of like he's more of a rotational guy. So I think they're definitely going to use more of him in those certain matchups. And I think that if we take advantage of the offense, the weak side of the offensive line, which is more of the right side, since they did lose Robert Hunt. And when I heard that, let me look at some of the advanced stats on Instagram briefly. Let me just quickly take a look at these these opponent facts. Let's take a look. So the right guard is Chandler Zavala, and he has the 4th lowest pass block grade. So I'm expecting to see a lot of pressure from the right side of from the defensive line, which I'm expecting to see. The Panthers offense had just only 2 of explosive rush plays, which is 10 plus yards, which is the fewest among all offense. So we should be taking advantage of the rushing attack, since we have the best rushing attack one of the best rushing attacks currently. So I think they're going to utilize a lot on the passing game, and we suck in the passing game. So I hope we improve in the passing game. And then, yeah, that's all we have to worry about so far, because since Leggette's going to be out, since Jatavion Sanders is going to be out, we'll all have to worry about Hubbard if he's active, McMillan, who's going to be active, and then maybe Rico Dowdle. And then other than that, if we take advantage of Bryce Young, who is currently in his 3rd NFL season, I think that we should take advantage of him. But let's now shift over to the defense for the Carolina Panthers. And all am I telling you, we're heading to Drake May's home state, I would say.
Going against Drake May's going against Drake May's favorite fucking team. Also,
I'm gonna quickly make an errand, but if you guys want to discuss it about like what the Patriots offense should do against this Panthers defense, by all means, you guys go ahead, because I gotta quickly make an errand right now. So.
Yep. So what do you think, Austin?
Obviously JC Horn is their best player on that defense. He got that huge contract in the offseason to make him one of, if not the highest paid corner in the league. Whether he's deserving of that money, kind of yet to be seen, honestly. I thought he was always a decent corner, but I never thought he was, world breaking on the likes of, a Surtain or a Gardner, right? Their linebackers, I literally have never heard of. Derek Brown from a couple drafts ago. That's a pretty solid defensive end right there. And Trevon Moehrig, I believe, started his career with the Raiders. He's a pretty solid safety, but I think he's like 5'9". He's a very short safety. So, frankly, I don't know. It's just the Panthers roster is not well constructed. It feels like there's tons of holes, and they just keep addressing the offensive side and for them only addressing the offensive side, it feels like that's the side that always needs the most help. But it's showing on the defense that, there's a lot of holes. There's not, like, if you look at a team and there's not more than a couple people that you could instantly be like, oh, that's a name brand player. Like, you're kind of just sitting here like, I don't know what the hell type of shape their team's in. It's going to be, I think it should be a cakewalk for us to win, to be honest. I mean, we pretty much had the Steelers on the rope. We should have won that game like 34-14, to be quite frank, if not for turnovers. So I'm hoping this is more of a cakewalk, maybe a blowout. How about you?
I do see that happen, but the issue here is knowing this Patriots team here, we're not even good. We're not even close enough to get blowouts here. I would see us winning by 10 points or so. But two freaking words that we need to focus on this coming Sunday, which is, I wonder is it ball security? Because we got 5 turnovers in that game against Pittsburgh. Like, come on, man. It's 5 turnovers. 2 from Amondre, which I'm getting over with at this point. 1 from freaking Gibson. The other one is from Drake May, which I'm not going to pull something on accountable of him. And the interception, which is not his fault because it was tipped by Hayward. Like, we cannot limit those stupid turnovers, even against the worst-looking team in abysmal Carolina Panthers here. I think it's about time for me to hang my head up and just give up on this team. Or whatever happens. Like, if we cannot beat Carolina, we can't even beat good freaking teams like Buffalo or I have no idea. Like, our offense better click against this Carolina defense, because besides like J.C. Horn, who's probably the best corner in their team, I don't know who, and Derek Brown, their best defensive end. I don't know who else besides them that we could just go through their throats for when it comes to our offense.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, and thank you for pointing out that Morig is 6'2". I mean, I play a lot of Madden, and I could have sworn maybe I'm getting him confused with another guy, but there was always this one guy on the Raiders safety that was pretty short, but clearly I'm getting it confused. This team is just like last week was pretty rage-inducing to have to watch live at Gillette Stadium and just see your team just fumble the ball and fail every opportunity to punch it in and get the lead and take a win. And, that game was more us losing than them winning. So as rage-inducing as that was, as disappointing as that was, like I said, if we go into this game and we end up losing, like, I don't know. I don't want to give up on the team, but that's going to feel really bad. It's going to feel really bad. I'm a Patriots fan through and through, right? And I'm here for it all. But it's just obvious games that we shouldn't have trouble with that we always seem to struggle. Yeah,
but when it comes to the Panthers, like, we cannot lose to somebody like Carolina, who, like, their quarterback is more like a bust now. I don't care, Bryce Young, because I do love Bryce Young here. But we cannot lose to somebody like him. We cannot lose to the abysmal offensive line. Our defense should be fine against them. Our offense is going to be our main issue when it comes to turnovers, which I literally hee-haw them like a fucking donkey, which I have to give a damn for. If we cannot stop with these stupid turnovers, for crying out loud, I'm going to keep hee-haw until I explode.
Yeah. So I'm back from like a bathroom break, but yeah, I was gonna say, so this is, I made a mistake. I thought Drake May is gonna like have a home party back in North Carolina, but I forgot it's gonna be a home game. But he is going up against the team that he cheered on for throughout his entire like childhood. But I actually overheard you ranting, Thomas, while I was using the restroom. But you were right. The offense needs to improve, especially when you cannot, as an offense, commit 4 crucial turnovers. Discredit the interception. The 4 fumbles pissed me off outside of the interception. You cannot make these crucial plays, especially you're going up against one of the worst defenses in the league, because last season, without Derek Brown, he's going to be playing soon, and he was a former first-round pick back in 2020 during that COVID season, he's going to be somebody to look out for on the defensive line, and obviously keep an eye on J.C. Horn, who I don't think they should have given him that contract extension. So...
yeah, most likely he's going to be going against Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. I better see Stevenson. And I bet you that if Stevenson balls out, everybody, this is what I don't understand about Stevenson. And we can briefly talk about Stevenson at this point. Stevenson so far this season has been a hot and cold guy. He confuses me in a certain way. Like the first game, granted, he didn't force any fumbles, but he didn't make any explosive plays.
No.
The second game, he made explosive plays in the passing game, not in the run game, to be honest. A little bit in the run game, but he stood out more in the passing game. And then against the Steelers, he looked like I don't know. He looked like Humpty Dumpty. No, he looked like a guy carrying like Humpty Dumpty and then dropped it, and then the egg cracked. That's what I'm basically seeing out of Ramondre twice. So I don't know what we're going to be doing with Mondre, because there are reports that Henderson has been the first running back for this particular drill. So, and yes, we were going up against the Steelers, who were without Alex Highsmith, Deshaun Elliott, and Joey Porter Jr. Granted, you still had DJ Watt and Cameron Hayward, but this is completely different too. So, is Stevenson going to be more in the passing game or in the run game? Because at this point, he looked great in the passing game, but that was against the Dolphins.
Pretty much uses the passing game at this point, but I would just give more reps to Henderson, because he in college did not fumble the damn football then. And he did, and I'm sure as hell he did not fumble the football this season in the regular season. So I would use him as a running back 1. And I'm sorry to say that, and I'm sorry to freaking Andy at this point here. I'm not giving it on Stevenson yet, because it's just one game that he made 1 or 2 fumbles. I would just put him as a running back 2, share the reps with Gibson. Gibson would be our third down back, and just use Gibson as our kickoff return guy, which he do well as a kickoff guy. Honestly, I would just give the more reps to freaking Henderson and just share the second down, third down reps with Stevenson and Gibson.
Yeah, at this point, because it seems like I don't know what's been going on with the running back room, because so far we looked great, but before the offseason we looked great at running back. Now I don't know anymore, but it's too early to tell. It's 3 weeks within the season, so I'm not gonna evaluate immediately. So also, how are we gonna use Gibson, especially after his fumble, which I would say Peppers made a play, less so much of Gibson making a mistake. But I don't know anymore, because both of our running backs had a shitty day last week. So it's hard, and especially in the run game. But the thing is, we're going up against the team who sucked in the run game. So how is it? So I'm just confused now, because the Patriots should be taking advantage of the Steelers' defense and not make these crucial mistakes. And this happened.
Yeah, but nope. We got 5 turnovers. Hee-haw, hee-haw, hee-haw. Literally. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think we can sit here and be like, oh, we shouldn't play Gibson because he fumbled. If Ramondre, he fumbled twice. You know what I mean? So it's either you let them all play and work their way back up, and just keep feeding them the ball and see who's going to break away as this lead back, because honestly, it's kind of up in the air. Nobody's wowed me with any of the run plays.
Yeah, we're all looked abysmal so far this season.
Yeah, I know we're screaming for Henderson, but even Henderson, when he's gotten the ball, I mean, it just doesn't seem like things have gone his way. Gibson, I mean, it would be great if we got him the ball a bit more, and I mean, Ramondre too. I feel like, I mean, if we're gonna talk about fumbles, I believe it's Ramondre and Gibson have led the league. They're like 1 and 2 in fumbles since 2020 or something. So like we literally have like some of the, or like their top 5 in fumbles in the league. So we have 2 players in the top 5 that fumble the most.
Yeah.
Maybe next year you're looking at trying to get an every down back in the draft. I definitely think Henderson should be on this team for years to come. I do believe for Henderson to succeed, you need to have the 1A to his 1B, because I don't think he can be out there every single play. He's just going to get hurt like he did in college at Ohio State when they tried to, give him the lead back role and just let him run rampant. He did succeed, but people with smaller stature like that do tend to get injured. But his explosiveness is something we'll need if we want to succeed. But yeah, we got to get this run game going this year, and then I think Ramondre is going to be the key to that. It's just he's got to hold on to the ball.
Yeah. Also, Tyler makes an interesting point. Gibson, before he joined New England, he also had fumbles with the Washington Commanders. So we both have running backs who have fumbling issues. And it begs me the question, do you think that if we demote these two or deactivate these two, which I think is too early, it's too early to tell. Then again, we've seen so much out of Stevenson already. I think we're done with him after 5 seasons of making these same mistakes. Do we see us activating Terrell Jennings or maybe elevating JaMychal Hasty?
No, I think at that point you're admitting that, those guys aren't good anymore, which, isn't the case. And I don't think Jennings or Hasty are on the level of Ramondre or Gibson. The skill is clearly there. It is the ball security issues. And if they can just clean those up, we'll be dandy. But like I said, as far as I'm concerned, maybe we start looking ahead to who's some of these free agent running backs next season, or who's coming up in the draft. I mean, God forbid we're in a position to draft that high, but I mean, Jeremiah Love would be awesome out of Notre Dame, in my opinion, or some of these other just running backs coming up.
Yeah, I just don't know about the run game, because everybody thought we don't need to worry about the run game. And so far, the first 3 seasons, the run game has looked disappointing. And it seems like we're going to have to utilize more in a passing game, which I'm a little concerned about. But it seems like Drake Maye has been performing really well, especially in the passing game. But the running back situation, I thought of something like when Mike Brate, but because here's the problem though. As much as I hate Stevenson, everybody's been backing up Stevenson, especially from Drake Maye in these press conferences. So I'm basically torn at this point, because on one side you have fans being like, oh, let's get rid of Stevenson. And then you have another side, you have players being like, Stevenson's your good player. He is crucial to the team. So basically there's 2 sides that are it's like a tug of war between one side and the other. How can we make sure that we're on one side where we can be like, oh, Stevenson's our guy, but he can't be making those mistakes? How? And then Gerard asks a perfect question. How do you fix ball security? I have a good answer. And I did this demonstration with Andy. Let me do this demonstration again. I do not want to see Ramondre Stevenson carrying the ball like this. I want to see him carrying the ball like this. That is how you, because the worst part is seeing a running back. Generally, he would carry a ball like this. A safety or cornerback might punch, or even a linebacker might punch the ball, and it's the thing with Mondre, and I have a problem with this. He keeps on putting the ball in harm's way, and that's been the biggest problem last season. Regardless of how bad the offensive line looks, you can't put the ball in harm's way, making it easier for the defense. Like it's insane. It's insane at this point.
I agree. I legit agree with that. Jesus Christ.
Everybody's saying hire me as the running back coach. Yeah, if I was a running back for a high school team, yeah, I would have the speed all right. I just need to work out, and that's more because I can't be all flabby, and I need the muscle now. But what I'm saying is that if we draft a running back, like if we do draft a running back, granted you're not going to get like a James Cook or a Jonathan Taylor or a Bijan Robinson or Sonic or Knuckles or a Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry who has fumbling issues at this point, but we need a running back who is capable of securing the ball. I love Henderson, but there is one problem with Henderson that should have been a strength, especially coming out of college. It's not the fumbling issues. It's his pass blocking that has been a concern for Henderson. There is a reason why Judkins has been your Sonic and Knuckles, or maybe your, how do I say it? Your Anakin Skywalker and your Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I mean? You had like you have like a master and an apprentice. Henderson is more of like the apprentice, and then whoever is running back one is more of like the master. So I'm saying that you at least Trayvon Henderson, he's a good running back. He needs to work on his pass blocking, which has been abysmal so far. But you need a running back who could also be reliable and not make these kind of mistakes. And that's the problem that I'm having with Stevenson at this point. And this is his 5th season. You were given a contract extension because of what you've done so far. And he hasn't hit 1K yards since 2022. But I think I'm done ranting about the running back position, because it's like it's like I can't stop talking about running backs anymore. But let's talk about this wide receiver room. And oh my gosh. Let's talk about the wide receiver room, and oh my gosh, it has been looking and I'm disappointed at this one particular player who I think needs to be demoted. And his name is Mr. Demario Poop Douglas. Not Pop, Poop Douglas at this point. Because you cannot, and I literally mean, you cannot make this mistake. You cannot make this mistake when you're 4th and 1. This is the wrong image. Come on, Instagram. Why are you doing this to me dirty? You cannot make this mistake when you're 4th and 1 and you don't dive forward. This is what I have a problem with Pop. Basically, exactly. I just call him Douglas at this point because he doesn't have the right to be called Pop at this point. What has been going on with Pop? What has been going on with Douglas this entire season, Austin? Like, I don't know anymore. Yeah, I had 1 touchdown, but he hasn't impressed me at all.
He had 1 touchdown and -2 yards in that Raiders opener, and then he was non-existent, it feels like, in the Miami game. And then he was non-existent in the Steelers game. I don't know what's happening. It almost feels like he's being phased out of the offense. He's clearly not getting enough reps to even build his confidence, build that trust between Maye, and continue to mature that relationship. Quite clearly, I mean, Drake Maye can take the fall for that all he wants. Oh, I should have told Douglas that he needs to get the first. Screw that. You know what down it is. You know your responsibility is to cross that down line to get the first. Don't give me that crap where, oh, I caught it, and then I tried to do my shimmy sham wham juke to get the first. What are we doing? Catch the ball. If that was Edelman, he would have swooped under the guy coming to come tackle him, and or even just dive for that end zone, or not the ends of the first down. So I don't understand the whole. Oh, that's on me. I should have told him what to do. It's like, Pop, get your head in the fucking game and catch the ball and get the first down. I don't. It just feels that play right there reminded me of the Butte move he made his rookie year in that Eagles game that got him benched for the entire season where, fourth down. Oh, sideline catch. Butte, it's good. Oh, 1 foot in bounds. Still thinking it's college. That right there was just a terrible, terrible move to me. And I don't know. They need to get Kyle Williams at least. I know everyone's pushing for Chisholm. I want Chisholm to come in and play too. I just want it to be at the right time. But I think Kyle Williams, you spend your 3rd-round draft pick on this guy. I mean, it's not a later draft pick. That's still a pick where you expect that guy to come in and contribute. Get him playing some more. I really don't understand.
I know. Like right now, tomorrow Douglas gets the F game.
And you know what's even worse? You're going to throw up when you hear this, Thomas. And I want to say a huge shout out to Tyler for saying this. Pop was involved in the Steelers game. He was disappointed this was the game because this was the game he should have capitalized, especially, and I mean especially, against man coverage. How the hell can you not take advantage of quarterbacks who suck at man college? Jalen Ramsey, who allowed most yards in man coverage.
Title.
How can you not take advantage of that? I'm like, ooh. And Gerard says it. Douglas is starting to look like a wide receiver 4 and wide receiver 5. I agree with you, Gerard.
Yeah, to me too. Like, yeah, he was involved and he was in on a decent bit of plays. He had 2 catches for 7 yards, and one of those catches was that blunder on the 4th down. To me, that's not involved. That's just being a body out there. Like, you might as well just have Mac Hollins out there blocking every play. Like, that's the type. At least he can block. Like, that's – I don't know. I feel like Douglas tries to get too crazy with it.
Yeah. And it seems like we should give Mac Hollins more chance. Mac Hollins, and I hate to say this, he's more of a situational wide receiver. Like, he was like a situational wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills because their main wide receivers were Shakir and Coleman. Hollins was, and maybe Curtis Samuel, but Hollins is more of like a situational wide receiver, so he's more of like a wide receiver 3. But it seems like Drake May likes to throw it to wide receivers who are as tall as Mac Hollins. So I want to see him give him a rest, but it seems like Booty has been getting the most reps. I think Diggs should get more reps, but obviously he's recovering from that ACL injury. And I agree with you. Austin. Give Kyle Williams chances. Let him have his foot. Have his foot in like the deep end of the water of the pool. Like, come on. We want to see some Kyle Williams action. Like, you drafted him in the 3rd round. We need to see some action out of him. Because if you don't utilize him, he would be like a waste of a pick. And you're still using Pop, who has been looking disappointing so far. And he's on his rookie deal.
I think part of too is what's making Patriots fans so annoyed, so just over everything, is the fact that we keep having these guys on our team that just seem to can't get out of their own way, can't do shit, just can't do anything productive for us. We cut them, they go off to a different team, and they ball out. And then the question just keeps going, oh, is it us? Like, we're clearly doing something to stunt their development, and they just go to a different team and they go crazy. Mac Jones, 2-0 this year, filling in for Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy's back this week, but he proved he could still play, even on the Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars had their best offense when he was on the field. He was literally throwing it to BTJ, getting BTJ over 100 yards a game in December. Insane. Okay?
It's freaking ridiculous.
We're talking Tyquan Thornton, who dude couldn't cook rice, let alone like cook on the routes he ran. Like, I don't understand. But now he's on the Chiefs, and it's just like, oh, average 5'10" black guy that can run fast. Let's just, all right, you're on the Chiefs. Like, that feels like the entire Chiefs roster. And oh my God, he made an insane catch over the middle last game, almost a touchdown. I think he was down at the 1. Just an insane catch. And I mean, the list goes on. Like, it just feels like we're constantly letting these people walk, and then they're just having success with other teams. And I think that's what hurts most.
And I think that I would, as much as I want to blame all these wide receivers, like, we draft the only draft wide receiver that we drafted who has so far have been impressive as a homegrown was Julian Edelman. That is how abysmal we have been at drafting wide receivers, because we drafted Dobson in 2013. What happened to him? We drafted Trey Nixon, who had looked non-existent. We drafted N'Keal Harry, who is completely a bust at this point. And then I would be shocked if Polk balls out with the Saints or Baker balls out with the Eagles, who is currently on the practice squad right now. But
yep. Which has literally become the Salvation Army for wide receivers.
And then Braxton Berrios, who we had at one point, and then we dropped him. And I think Gerard and Tyler hit the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, Braxton Berrios, Jack Jones, Joey Sly, Chad Ryland, Nick Folk, like, I don't know.
And I would blame more on how we had previous coaches who suck at developing players. And I don't want to hark on this again, but I'll put the blame more on Coach Harry Hoodie Riz Tyrant, because I'm forbidden to say his name ever after what he did in 2022. After what he did in 2022, it made me vomit what I heard about it. Like, also, another player that we should have kept, Jacoby Myers. He has been balling out for the Las Vegas Raiders. I just don't get with the wide receiver production now.
It's just we became the Salvation Army for wide receivers and fucking players who literally just want out of New England. Come get your players right here. Come get your stupid ass players right here.
Yeah, but need a cough drop. But let's shift over to the offensive line, because I think we've been ranting about we've been ranting about running backs and wide receivers at this point. Let's talk about another position who I think is really important: the offensive line. Let's talk about the right side of the offensive line, because I'm a little scared at this point. Morgan Moses, he is turning into a turnstile. He's turning into a turnstile at this point. He's 34, and I think that time has come. Like, I would see Moses more as an assistant offensive line coach than an offensive line player at this point. What do we do? What do we do with Morgan Moses? Should he retire at this point and have him be like an assistant coach?
I don't know what to do with him yet. Honestly, no idea.
I think you play him till the wheels fall off. I don't think he's necessarily shown anything where you're sitting there going, oh, this guy's a liability to our team. Yeah, he has shown where he starts off strong and kind of fizzles out at the end. That's what I've kind of seen through these first 3 games. But I think you just ride him as your right tackle until he truly becomes a detriment or a liability. I don't think he's anywhere on the level of Vidarian Lowe for us last year, right? I think he's been way more solid than him. But again, there's still a lot of holes. Like maybe the fact that we're all thinking, oh, we're going to make the playoffs this year was very optimistic, because as much as we did improve, there is still a lot of holes on our team that, you know, every year the team's going to get older. We gotta figure out kind of how Howie Roseman does it over with the Eagles on how to build and grow talent and know when you can let certain people go and, who to keep. And I'm hoping with Vrabel, there's some form of stability. It's just felt like turnover after turnover after turnover every year with the coaching staff that we have. So I just want to see people stick together and try to actually grow this thing and develop people, because that is our biggest issue, is our development. You can't go through, 5 different offensive coordinators and DCs and this and that. And, you can't hit on none of your draft picks since 2020 or 2019, or frankly, even into the Brady era where Brady's masking all of your incapability because he's just that good. And I don't know. There's a lot of tearing off the Band-Aid that needs to be done and, sewing it back together type of thing.
Yeah.
I fucking know, right?
So what is the ultimate test for this, for the offensive line going up against Derek Brown? I think Derek Brown's the only notable player for the defensive line, because out of the all players, because the defensive line for the Panthers is originally disappointing at this point. Should the offensive line improve, especially going up against a poor defense in the Panthers?
Significantly, they need to improve. Yes, they need to be improved. And most importantly, they need to limit those freaking penalties, same as for the defense.
Yes, the false start penalties on Will Campbell, but he's learning. It's not like he's a rookie at this point.
Yeah, I'm not taking the blame of Will Campbell, yes, because he's a rookie. He's 21, he's 21, 22. He's going to learn here. But the rest of the offensive line better be well disciplined, or I will keep hee-haw at your face.
Let's quickly okay. We got 2 more things, and then we'll get to the predictions quickly, because I know Thomas has a thing. But let's quickly talk about Drake May and him playing hero ball again.
Okay, Drake May did play well last week, but again, he played freaking hero ball again, for crying out loud. I said this the first time that when we play against Las Vegas, stop play hero ball, for crying out loud. And we're playing a serious football game.
Yeah, we're playing a serious football. Yeah, Drake May, he looked great with 2 touchdowns to Hunter Henry. But at this point, you can't be making hero ball plays and then fumble that ball, giving the Panthers back the ball, and then make Aaron Rodgers look great, because the defense was in a terrible position, because the defense had, minus the penalties, had to carry the cross with just the offensive woes. That's what disappointed me. What are your thoughts on this, Austin? What's been going on with May's hero ball issues again?
I don't know. I'm not even gonna blame it on May, bro. May is in the top 10 statistically in a lot of categories. At the end of the day, that's what you want your quarterback to have. So the question of is May the guy? Is May okay? Let's stop right there. May is our future. We got to stop every time somebody has a bad game wanting to run them out of town. Quite honestly, we see it with Mondre, and I get there's a history, but we're not going to succeed without Mondre, just as much as we're not going to succeed without Drake May this year and years to come. If he's got to play hero ball for us to win, great. I personally don't think he's playing hero ball. I mean, I get he had the pick at the 1 yard line, which was tipped by Cameron Hayward, and then I think the one fumble. Again, it's just one of those things where, could you say he needs to hold on to the ball better? And I don't know. Again, I don't want to put that blame on him. He's just trying to make a play. He has it in his hands. The guy comes down and swipes him as he's being sacked. Give the defender his props. It's just a great play. I don't think May did anything necessarily wrong by trying to extend the play there. He has last year in the, thrown needless picks. I think in the week 1 against the Raiders, you saw one of those needless picks where it kind of launches it over the middle and it gets picked off there. But since then, I think he's improved drastically. And I mean, look at the Bills. Josh Allen has to play hero ball every week, and that's how they get their wins. Sometimes that's just a team's identity. if we have to play through Drake May, then so be it. Because that's honestly what it's feeling like with the poor run game, the almost non-existent receivers. I mean, you have Butte, who, quite frankly, looked like he was going to be our wide receiver one and quietly has faded into irrelevancy. Pop Douglas, just nothing. Stephon Diggs, who we had high hopes for, is still kind of lackluster. I mean, I don't know. All these make-a-wishes that we had before the season are just blowing up in our face right now. I know it's early, but we really gotta hammer home a win here, and then we just have to build on this because I, quite frankly, don't think we're gonna beat the Bills. We can obviously discuss that next week's show, but we have to get a win here if we do have any playoff hopes.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the Bills game a lot more because we'll talk about this off screen, but it's hard to believe that I know Drake May needs to stop playing hero ball, but in these key situations, it's kind of hard, especially that Drake May have to carry this offense because the lackluster, especially with how shit the running backs were, and then how the wide receivers were not open. It's just hard at this point. And it's like I think May needs time to grow. Obviously, he has been showing why he has been. He at one point was top 5 in passing yards, and I believe he's now top 10 in passing yards. So I'm hoping that Drake May continues to thrive with a mediocre or maybe an average roster at this point because he's playing like a top-tier quarterback. And and I know you guys we'll talk about draft, and I know it's too early to talk about draft. Like, if we get like a Blake Miller, for example, or a Maui Goa, or a Fans at right tackle, oh my gosh, with either of these three and Campbell on the offensive line, it's going to be satisfying. And then let's quickly talk about special teams. And I know special teams impressed me with the Harold Landry fumble that could have been recovered. Andre Borregales looks a lot better at this point. He has looked better as time goes on. But going up against the Panthers special teams, I heard there was this one report from Brable when asked about this that the kicker for the kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald, has been known for kicking knuckleballs. How can we take advantage of those knuckleballs against the Panthers?
I don't fucking know.
I think if you have a kicker that kicks like that and is constantly going to leave it in the field of play, I think that's terrible going against the Patriots, who have 2 explosive returners in Gibson and Henderson. Quite frankly, I mean, it's been so long since we've had a kick return team where you look at that and you go, oh yeah, there's an actual chance that literally every time the ball is kicked to one of them, they could go the distance. Probably not since Cordero Patterson, so 2018. Yeah, right. So it's quite refreshing to have that in the building, mixed with Marcus Jones fielding the punts. We have a pretty stellar special teams room, and hopefully we can see some more contributions on that end from those 3 guys, 4 guys really, Behringer, 5 guys with Borregales. Let's just keep seeing the development. I do want to see Borregales hit some more field goals because he didn't hit any just because we weren't in a position to really kick any field goals last game. So hopefully he doesn't have rust on him and he's going to come into this game and miss a couple because I don't know, then everybody's going to want to run him out of town. But let's just hope for some solid. Yeah.
Because you know what's funny? I thought that at one point everybody said Ryan Fitzgerald is the best kicker in that draft. And Andres Borregales was the first kicker off the board. That's interesting because I thought we would draft Ryan Fitzgerald, but I'm like, after hearing that he kicks knuckleballs, I'm like, okay. This is going to get interesting for the special teams. Oh, the special teams is going to make it look easy because of how well Jeremy Springer has made the special teams look better instead of Scott O'Brien or whoever that special teams coordinator was because, oh my gosh, special teams in years past looked like shit at that point. But and I think it's now time for game predictions. And everybody who is currently in the chat, besides liking the like button and clicking the subscribe button and sharing this with all your friends and turning on these bell notifications, please participate in any of what we're doing, like game predictions. Let's start with game predictions. Everybody write your game predictions in the chat right now. 8 of you who is currently in the chat right now. But let's start with the game predictions. I'll start with you, Thomas, then Austin, and then get to me.
This should be a winnable game, honestly. Like, I do not see us blow out the Panthers. I would love to see it, but not with this team after that pitiful performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just gonna say this short and sweet. Patriots 34, Panthers 24.
Austin?
Yeah, I think if New England can play cleaner at home this week than they did last week against the Steelers, which really should be very easy to do. I don't think they're going to have 5 turnovers against the Panthers. Who knows?
No!
But if they could play a lot cleaner, can leverage a lot of the tight end centric sets with Hooper and Henry, who honestly have looked like some of our best pass catchers this year. And, Diggs can maybe have a breakout game against this piss poor secondary the Panthers kind of have fielding. I think the Patriots should be able to run away with it. I have a prediction of 28-16. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely leaning because I think New England is 5.5 favorites, and the game total is just under 40. So I think I'm going a little over the 40, but yeah, I think 28-16 is realistic.
With me, there's a big problem with this game. It's not against the Panthers. It's the inability for the Patriots to win at home. And Mike Vrabel has harped at this, even during his introductory press conference. We have to win we have to take advantage against bad teams and win at home. And so far, we haven't won at home since week 8 against the Jets. And I'm not crediting the week 18 against the Bills, which was at home, and it was a win, but that was against backup players for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm hoping we get our first win at home since week 8 against the Jets to look great. And if the Patriots don't turn the ball over, I should see Patriots 28, Panthers 17.
Almost copied me there, Dow. Almost, but yeah.
I'm just gonna read some of your I'm gonna briefly read some of your game predictions. So Tyler said 37 Patriots, 10 Panthers. I hope you're right. Gerard, Pats 24, Panthers 9. With Drake May stats, I hope you get maybe
Gerard 14-13.
Yep. I hope Drake May 2 to 3 touchdowns, maybe 1 interception if JC Horn picks off one of us. I'll see 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 300 yards. That's my guess, but that's gonna be it for today, guys. Sorry that we originally planned to start 10-7. I think that's the final score. I could be wrong. 10-7. It could be a low scoring goal. I don't know, but
let's freaking end this.
Yeah, let's end this. Sorry guys. Originally we planned to do this live stream at 8, but because of my circumstances and Thomas' circumstances, all of our schedules have been acting weird. So, which is why we had to do this early live stream. But next week, I think it's gonna be later because it's interesting because week 5 is going to be our very first Sunday night primetime game since God knows how long. So this should be, I think it was since week 4 back in 2021, I think. But yeah,
2022, I think, when we played the Miami Dolphins, I'm pretty sure. Or 2023.
yeah,
I
2023.
think.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, you could totally be right. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining this journey. It's been a rocky start so far. Basically, my performance of the past 3 streams have been a bit icky, but throughout the entire journey during this NFL season, we try to improve as analysts here. And it's fun chatting with you guys, talking ball, talking Patriots, hoping that the Patriots improve after 2 lackluster seasons. So this is the first year of a true rebuild under Mike Vrabel. And it's hard because we have the Boston media being the Boston media at this point. So I hope that we improve as a team. And that's what we all hope. And at least make the playoffs. Not win the division because the Bills are good, but at least make the playoffs. At least. But thank you guys so much, as always, for joining here on this channel. Please, if you haven't already, if you want to see more of this kind of content, please click the like button if you haven't already, and click subscribe if you haven't already. We are currently at 92 subscribers. We need at least 8 to get to 100 subscribers. So, and once we hit 100 subscribers, we have an upcoming live stream filled with Q&As, call-ins, giveaways. Austin's giving out some cards. You do not want to miss that out if you click that subscribe button. And also turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of this kind of content. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Pats.
Go Pats.
Go Pats. Yay!